that.
31.
So welcome everybody. I just want to say a couple of quick words of thank you to everybody who's joining us tonight. And we're looking forward to the foundation session. You know, this is a Zoom meeting and we will probably mute everyone so that we don't get background noise bothering Debbie as she's presenting. And so if you want to raise your hand, there's a button at the bottom. It says reactions. There's a little hand there. You can raise your hand if you want to say something or wave at us or something, or unmute yourself and join right in. But we're glad to have Ed Anderson. He's helping us tonight. Thank you, Ed. And
thank you. And I'm going to interrupt you just a second. Debbie, if you'll stop screen sharing, I've got those slides ready to go, and it'll be one less thing for your satellite bandwidth thing.
Because I'm trying to figure out how to get this done. Okay, thanks, Ed. Appreciate you.
Take it away, Debbie.
Okay. There we go. Thank you, Ed. Well, for those of you who don't know me, and I think I do know most of you on the call, I'm Debbie Alexander Davis. I was district governor in 1718, loved every minute of it. The best part of it was getting to know all of your clubs and the great things that you're doing. I'm excited. I've spent a couple of years as the RLI chair for the district. We brought that back. And now I get to have the honor of following Beth Stubbs as district foundation chair. And that's a really big set of shoes I've got to fill. So I'm going to need all your help in doing that. We do, as you know, we've got Beth with us, and I just want to say that she has done an amazing job, and she has also been so wonderful to work with. She has helped me in any way that I've needed, and I know that she'll continue to do that. And I just personally want to say thank you, Beth. We have a lot of people on the call who are part of our district foundation committee. But before we get to introductions for them, I'd like you to just very briefly introduce yourselves. And all I want to know is your name, your Rotary Club, and how many years you have been in your club foundation chair. I know we have some newbies, and I know we have some people who have been around a while. So let's see the range of experiences that we have.
Going to have to call on people, Debbie, or they're not going to know what order to go in.
Okay, I thought maybe Ed was going to do that. All right, let me get up here. All right, Roger, how about you?
Yes, I'm Roger Kiefer, and I'm with Knoxville Breakfast Rotary. And I've been around the foundation chair maybe 5 years.
Okay, Karen.
Hi, I'm Karen Wentz, Rotary Club of Maryville, and this is my third year this time around as foundation chair. A number of years ago, I was foundation chair for about 4 years, I think. So, yeah.
Great.
I'm also a member of the foundation district committee, and we'll be talking about that later, right, Debbie?
Yep, we sure will. Jeff?
I'm Jeff Townsend with the Fairfield Glade Rotary Club. I'm finishing up my first year as foundation chair.
Rosa?
Hi, my name is Rosa Mar, and I'm a member of the Bearden Rotary Club, and this is my first year being on a foundation committee member.
Thank you. John Carlberg.
Okay, I'm John Carlberg. I'm in the Kingston Rotary Club. I'm the assistant district governor and current president, and I'm not the foundation chair.
Well, John, you'll be happy to know Bobby's here sitting in listening. Bobby Davis from our Kingston Club is our foundation chair, and he also happens to be my very own honey, and he's here. Dan Hatfield.
Yes, I'm probably about 6 years now. I've done it a couple of times
different times in my Monteagle Swanee Rotary Club, and thank you.
Thank you. Elaine. We can't hear you, Elaine.
Elaine, I think you're muted. I'll try to unmute you, but there'll be a button right at the top right of your little picture there. There you go. Go ahead, Elaine.
I'm Elaine Budick from the Rotary Club of Oak Ridge, and I'm going on my 3rd year as foundation chair.
Thank you, Elaine. Bernadette.
Hi, I'm Bernadette Rindler. I'm from the Jamestown Rotary Club. I am not the foundation chair, but I'm looking through the list of participants to see if any of the rest of our board were talking and who could come. So I'm just here to participate.
Great. Kim.
I'm Kim Padilla with the Gatlinburg Rotary, and I have the big goose egg in terms of experience with the foundation. So I'm one of your newbies, so I'm looking forward to learning all I can learn. Thank you.
You are definitely not the only one, Kim. We're all here to help each other, so please don't worry. Scott.
Scott Weinstein with the Farragut Club, and this will be my 1st year.
Okay, another one, another newbie. Wayne?
Wayne, we can't hear you.
Hey, you try to figure it out and we'll come back to you. Woody?
I got it.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
For sure.
Okay. Wayne Honeycutt, Loudon Club, 9 years.
Oh, so far you're winning the race. Woody?
I'm Woody Deutsch from Monteagle Swanee. I'm not on the foundation board, and I've been doing foundation for about 7 minutes now, and I'm going to soak up whatever I can learn.
Hopefully you'll find some useful things. Rob?
Rob Dansrew, Area 4 Assistant Governor. I've been foundation chair once or twice, I think, over time, but I've been trained countless times, so thanks for having me.
Great. David?
I'm David Olson from the Oak Ridge Breakfast Club, and this is my 1st year as foundation chair.
Congratulations. It's a great job. Seriously.
We'll find out.
Tom?
We'll find out.
Tom Kale with Chattanooga Breakfast. I'm finishing up the, I guess the first partial year. I picked up the job mid-year, but this is, I think, my 2nd round of doing this. So.
Great. Lauren?
Yes, I'm Lauren Smith with Lebanon Breakfast, and this will be my 1st year.
That's at least 3 of you, maybe 4. I've lost count. Welcome. Ralph?
So, so first of all, am I unmuted? Yes, I am.
Yes.
So I am with Debbie's club, and I kind of stand in the background and take notes for the club. And so I'm a behind the scenes person. How's that? I'm not the foundation chair. Debbie's friend, that lives with her, is her foundation chair.
I did introduce him just a minute ago, Ralph. I didn't forget him. Thank you. Katie?
I'm Katie Harbison with the Chattanooga Downtown Club, and this, I think, is my 3rd year of co-chairing our foundation committee.
Welcome, Katie. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? Because all of a sudden I just lost my screen. Hang on. I think there's more people. Yep. There we go. Bonnie.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Carroll from the Oak Ridge Breakfast Rotary Club, and I'm
going to be Vice President for External Affairs, and the foundation comes under me, so I'm going to be helping there.
Great. I'm seeing a lot of people from Chattanooga, from Oak Ridge Breakfast.
Yay,
Thank
Oak
you.
Ridge. Breakfast.
Yay. Okay, I think that says Lydia. I clearly need reading glasses, Lydia, sorry.
Hi, yes, I'm Lydia with the Oak Ridge Breakfast Rotary Club, and I'm going to be the internal vice president, and I have no idea what I'm in charge of because I thought I was also responsible for the foundation, but I missed all the other training, so I'm here for this one.
Okay, Lydia, it's all yours. It's all yours, Lydia.
That's okay. Hey, I'm managing my first Rotary District grant, though.
Yay, congratulations.
And
Thank
Debbie,
you for coming.
this is Ruby Miller. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, Debbie, I'm the president-elect for the Oak Ridge Breakfast Rotary Club, and I'm responsible for all the confusion. So we're all here to learn. We're all here to learn.
Well, while we're on Oak Ridge Breakfast, is there anybody else waiting who's from Oak Ridge Breakfast also? I might have, do you have 4, Ruby? Sounds like it. You might win the award for the most people from the same club.
We'll take one more and play some basketball.
Okay.
Bob, you want to introduce yourself?
Is Tony here? He's our president-elect, and he may be on the call. He's like me. We're trying to learn about all of the different groups.
That's great. Bob?
Yes, this is Bob Moss with the Chattanooga Downtown Club. This will be my 3rd year as co-chair.
Thank you. Let's see, Jenny?
I'm Jenny Morrow with the Rotary Club of Knoxville, and I'm the president-elect. And I'm just trying to learn as much as I can.
Great. You were before a newbie.
That's right.
Let's see. Terry?
Yeah, I'm Terry Bray. I'm with the South Campbell Rotary Club in La Follette, Tennessee. And I'm also brand new as the foundation chair.
Okay, lots of newbies. Steve?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, good. Steve Douglas with the Crossville Noon Club. I've been foundation chairman. I don't know exactly, but it's got to be pushing 10 years now.
Okay, thank you. Have I missed anybody? If I have, please step forward now.
All right, I'll step up. I'm John Downs. I'm with the Sparta.
Oh, I was going to introduce you later, John.
All right, never mind.
Okay, go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
well, I'm with the Sparta Rotary Club, and I am the AG for Area 16 and the chair for NPolio now.
Great. Ed, if you could advance the PowerPoint, that would be super.
I'm sorry, Debbie, I couldn't hear you.
Could we go on to the next page?
You got it.
Thank you. I think my sound's up as far as it'll go. Can everybody else hear me? We okay? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to start with our giving team. And Ed, if you'll advance again. Okay, Andy, I know you're on. Would you introduce yourself and your job very quickly?
My name is Andy Anderson. I'm with Bradley Sunrise Rotary. I am the annual fund chair, which most of you know is the primary source of funding for Rotary, the international local project. So I want to talk to every one of the newbies. I want to come talk to you.
I think that would be a great idea. Norm.
Norm Fontana, Bradley Sunrise Rotary Club. I serve as the District Paul Harris Society chair, and I asked for a little bit more than $100 a year from you, and we'll be probably talking about that here a little bit later.
Okay, great. Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, before some of you joined us, Alan Johnston is actually on the beach in Florida, socially distancing. So he can't be with us tonight, but he is over our endowment fund donations and our major donors. John?
Okay, well, introduce myself again. I'm John Downs with the Sparta Rotary Club, and I am the chair for End Polio Now, more commonly known as Polio Plus.
Yeah. At any rate, we're going to eradicate polio soon. That's
We are this close.
Yes, this close.
Maybe this close.
Ed, would you go on, please? Okay. So that was the giving side of the foundation, where we collect donations from Rotarians and other people to fund our giving program. So giving back program, where we actually spend the money to do good around the world. So our spending support team, David Carroll is not here yet, I don't believe. He has been over our district grants for several years, and he does such an absolutely fantastic job that he is staying on until next year anyway, and hopefully longer than that. As part of preparing for the District Rotary Foundation Chair, we moved me into the 2021 coordinator position so that I can learn more about the whole grant approval and everything that has to do with district grants. So this year, upcoming year, the 2021 year, I'm officially the coordinator. So if you have a grant for this upcoming year, you heard from me. Following me will be Pat White, and she has done this before, and she's wonderful. Many of you have corresponded with her before, and she was one of our grant readers this year. I know that we have several others who read grants as well, particularly, and I'm trying to remember everybody who's here, but Wayne Honeycutt gets a big shout out for help with reading grants this year as well. Jim Roxlow, tell us about global grants. Just
okay.
A couple of sentences.
Couple of sentences. Global grants are really lots of fun. I hope everybody does a lot of them. We have two challenges really in global grants. One is about getting the grants identified, and the other is about getting them all funded. And we have an interesting little challenge on funding this year because the trustees have changed our funding cycle. And so it's going to be a little interesting to work that out, but it's something we have to work on, and we'll work through this year. Anybody who's got a global grant, you'll find out about all those details.
And Jim is the go-to person if you're interested in a global grant and want to know more. Ivan Jones was not able to be here tonight, but he for many years has chaired our Global and District Scholars Committee. And if you have a student that you think might qualify for one of those programs, you'll want to reach out to him and find out more details. Karen's here.
Yeah, I'm here. I am your Rotary Peace Fellows chair, and Rotary Peace Fellowships are a very special program. It has its own endowment, for one thing, that funds the Rotary Peace Centers. And the people we are looking for as Peace Fellow candidates are persons who have graduated from college already. They should have a minimum of 3 years of experience in some field related to peace and conflict prevention. And then also have some significant, you have to have a demonstrated significant commitment to peace. It's a special application cycle, very different from the global grant cycle that it begins around the 1st of February every year. So I will be reaching out to notify clubs to be on the lookout for candidates. As I say, this is not it is both a master's degree program, and there also is a certificate program. Very different from a traditional master's degree or certificate program. So we're not looking for just recent college graduates at all. We're looking for people that have some experience and have a demonstrated commitment to the field of peace and conflict prevention. You're muted, Debbie.
Sorry, I muted myself. Jerry Ware could not be here. He is in charge of our vocational training teams program. This is his first year and he's really excited about it. Many of us remember the GSE teams that we've had in the past, and the vocational training teams idea took the place of that. The big difference is that when a team goes out, they're all medical, or they're all teachers, or they're all some group that can go and teach others and learn from them. And so we are definitely hoping to have some sort of project with that next year. I really wanted you to see everyone and meet them tonight via the Zoom meeting, because these are going to be your go-to people to answer questions. And every one of them is willing and able and eager to answer any questions that you might have in their own areas. I sent out an email to the Club Foundation chairs earlier that I included several attachments. One of them was contact information for each one of these people, and I will send it out again after this meeting too. You will also get a copy of the PowerPoint just in case you want to remember any of these things. Okay. Tonight, we're going to talk about the responsibilities of the Club Foundation Chair, and I'm excited that we have not just new people, but we have people who have been involved with this for some time. And then we're going to touch on strategies to involve your members in Rotary Foundation giving and in spending. I will tell you that I want to be sure that we leave time at the end for you to ask questions. Here you have all these district people on this Zoom call with us, and they have loads of experience and knowledge, and it's going to be your chance to ask some questions and have a discussion with them. So if I see that I'm getting about 25 minutes away from the end, we're going to cut this just a little bit short. Pat White, did you come on? Are you here? I'm not hearing from Pat, but she may be here. You know, earlier I mentioned that she will be doing the district grants in 21-22 and is very, very experienced and will be super helpful as well. So let's talk just a minute about responsibilities. What do you think it is that you are supposed to do as the Club Foundation Chair? I see everyone's jumping in. Wayne, I'm going to pick on you. What's the responsibility of the Club Foundation Chair?
Well, Debbie, this is Terry Bray. If I can jump in, I'm brand new here, but
thank you, Terry. I appreciate it. You get brownie points.
Okay. I would think that my primary responsibilities is to be the liaison from our local club to both the district and to Rotary International, to make sure that I'm up to date on what our annual focus is and the regularly funded things that we do, and also to follow up on any grants that we might make and grant requests we might make to the district.
Great, thank you. That was several things. I appreciate it.
Debbie, I'll add, I think a key responsibility is providing information to our club members on a regular basis. You know, we do have our Rotary Foundation month in November, and we tend to provide a lot of information focused in November, but I think it's important to provide information throughout the year on a regular basis about both giving and about the programs you can take advantage of and the work that the foundation is doing. I think sometimes we focus so heavily on giving, especially to the annual fund, we forget to talk a little bit about the wonderful things that are funded through the Rotary Foundation. So that information responsibility is to me one of the basic key responsibilities of the club foundation chair.
And that tags on nicely with what Terry was saying earlier too about serving as a liaison. It's almost like you're a conduit as well, isn't it? Thank you, Karen. Other ideas about what your responsibility might be as a club foundation chair?
I try to keep our people reminded that where we are as far as our contributions, to keep them reminded that they need to include that when paying their dues, and try to give them information about how they can even give without giving it through the club, and the club still get credit for it. So
another great point. Go ahead. I think somebody started to talk.
I thought it was Steve from Crossville, but he's gone on mute again.
Okay.
Well, this is Bob Moss. May I jump in there?
Of course you can, Bob.
Yeah, I feel like our responsibilities are to raise money for the Rotary Foundation and to certainly make sure that our members understand that when they are asked to join Rotary and they say yes, one of the things that they need to understand is that every year they're to make their contribution to the Rotary Foundation. It's not a maybe, it's not anything else. It's supposed to be, that's what they're supposed to do. And then we're supposed to use the money most effectively to achieve the, for grants to do projects that really affect positively a lot of people in our area. And then of course, global grants would be for global, but I'm just saying certainly for district grants be that. So that's what we try to explain to our membership, and let someone else speak.
Thank you. That's an important point.
Steve Douglas in Crossville, I'll try again. The ask is an important part of the chairman's job. It's not just telling them what they could spend it on, it's actually asking them to make the donation. Some people are pretty reluctant to do so unless they're specifically asked.
Excellent point. Other ideas? One of the things that I haven't heard mentioned is celebrations. Do you think having celebrations is important?
Yes.
Anybody want to elaborate on that?
This is Steve Douglas in Crossville again. I guess you could call it celebration, but sometimes a tangible type process. The purple pinky thing was actually pretty successful with our club in its day. It got a lot of laughs and it got some money. It embarrassed some people, but they left the meeting with a tangible evidence of their gift.
Excellent point. Anybody else?
This is Terry Bray from South Campbell Rotary Club again. I would just say that celebrations are some of the golden threads that tie us all together. To give you an example of that, we have planned as a project in September, we're going to be building bunk beds for kids that don't have beds with a group called Sleep in Heavenly Peace. And we've actually gotten a matching grant from the district to help fund that. But to go out and spend that day together building beds for children and then being able to deliver them and see just how important that need is. And that's something worth celebrating.
And I think one of the things I heard you say is that you make that link between the fact that you're able to do this wonderful project and the Rotary Foundation, and how the Rotary Foundation supports the great things that your club is doing.
Yes.
And sometimes when we have people who maybe don't understand the need to give, having something like that can be very powerful. What about when you have a new Paul Harris Fellow? Do you do any ceremony surrounding that, the special awards, or anybody want to talk about something like that?
This is Bernadette from Jamestown. Yes, that's one of the few times when we really do celebrate. And we take pictures and it gets in the newspaper and it gets on the website, and we do a pin ceremony, and it's really nice. I think I didn't want to jump in there and say we don't celebrate enough on the foundation. I think we all get bogged down on what we're doing on our programs and where we are on our projects, and did something come in and did we talk to so-and-so during our meetings, that unless we have guests that we on a program, certainly when we have our Interact or Rotaract, we don't celebrate enough. So it's good to remember that, to do that.
You're exactly right. And Ed, you can go on. Thank you for going ahead and moving. I was ready. Oh, I'm seeing two. There we go. I think you've talked about the only thing I haven't heard you mention is working with your treasurer on the giving part, so that the donations go in regularly, and there are lots of awards that your club can qualify for. And again, that's a great time for celebration when those awards are given to your club in recognition of all the great work that you do. But part of that is that you have to meet deadlines with those donations. So that's just something to think about as well on the giving side. Ed, if you'll go ahead and go on to the spending responsibilities. That is so weird. I'm seeing two. There we go. So I talked about promoting, I heard you talk about promoting grants and activities, helping members participate. Some of you talked about the need to oversee the grant process, the qualification, the submittal. And I didn't hear so much about coming to grant management seminar to ensure that your club qualifies, but I know that all of you will make sure that there are people there, and hopefully you'll be able to be there yourself. Also, if your clubs have a service chair, some of the smaller clubs have one chair that does both community and international service. Some of the larger clubs divide that. But those are great people to serve as resources as you try to develop and fund projects. I think you did really well with what you said in terms of, well, it's excellent, period, but the Rotary Foundation agrees with the things that you said. One of the things that I was hoping that we would have time to talk about are strategies, so that you could share some stories. Some of you have already shared a couple of stories. We've got a couple of minutes before we're going to move into the question and answer part. And I'd like you to, if you have some things that you think have gone really well in your club, please tell the rest of us about them, both in terms of giving strategies, how you encourage people to give, and then the spending strategies where you use that money that the Rotary Foundation gives back to us.
This is Steve in Crossville. We try to make it as simple as we can for the members to give, and that's by adding it to their dues, whatever amount they wish to give, but we're hoping that they will at least give a minimum amount per capita so that we can hit our goals if we have sufficient participation. But make it easy for them to give money, and you can break it up quarterly dues so that it's easier for them to do it, and they just write one check and they don't have to think twice about it.
Great idea. Thank you.
This is Katie from downtown Chattanooga. We, in addition to trying to make it easy, we also give some incentives. So if they make their pledge by a certain day. We will sometimes put their names in drawings for different gift cards, but we also give out a free makeup, so an attendance day for making your pledge by the end of the day. On that very first day we ask, and that has gotten it's people do that quickly, so it's been a good procedure for us.
Another great idea.
Hey, Debbie, I know of about 4 ways to give. It's through your club, like you just said. Rotary Direct, you take it straight out of your checking account or your credit card. You can call rotary.org/donate and give. And there's this great way that if you forget all of those, is you call a 1-800 number for Rotary, tell them your name and tell them they want to give money, and they'll just do anything that you want. They'll take your money in any shape, form, or fashion and credit to your club, and it'll go to your reports within 2 to 3 days. So if you got the money, there's a way to give it.
That speaks our annual chair. Thank you, Andy.
You can also give on My Rotary as a one-time gift with the credit card.
For sure. Ed, would you move on to the next slide, please?
Deb, before you leave this, there was a strategy that the Oak Ridge Club used in prior years. They still may use it, where they would, for new members coming in, the club itself would help them to move towards getting their Paul Harris Fellow by giving half for the member to give half. That way it encouraged people to begin giving, and it got the ball rolling.
We're no longer doing that. We're 100% Paul Harris Club, but we expect the new members to participate in service projects and things, and then we can give an award. Then we can award the Paul Harris points. Political solicitations, I hate. But those are the things that are important, and we do want to include our new members. So after they've been in the club, especially during November Foundation Month, we'd like to induct our newer members into the Paul Harris membership. And I think some of our older members are way up in Paul Harris Society. And every once in a while we have a significant benefactor, and we have one who is just this year topped $100,000 donation to the foundation.
Thank you, Elaine. So we've talked a bit about how you encourage people to give, and how do you encourage people to come up with ways to use that PDF, whether it's for local projects or international projects? Any ideas on that?
There's a lot of wonderful projects. I've been privileged to have a major global grant for Ghana. We completed it in 3 years. We even included, and those are in the olden days, where we brought our training team with us on 2 of the missions, and we trained the regional hospital as well as the locals. We got into water because we had to drop a borehole. We had bathrooms and facilities, and that was an exciting project that is completed at this point in time. There are further requests from them, however, COVID is preventing that. We're moving on to Mexico. We've also had projects in Haiti. It's a matter of where your members have heard about a need, heard about a project, and you decide to jump in. And the most exciting thing in Rotary is to meet Rotarians around the world, bond together. It's almost an instant bond. And I know Rosamar can capitalize on that too, because when we all hit up in Mexico, it's one big fiesta, and people respect other Rotarians. I have not encountered any hostilities wherever I've gone with Rotary.
Thank you, Elaine. And you know, I was thinking too, we've been talking about global kinds of things at this point, but when we think about how all our clubs have reached out because of tornadoes or COVID-19 or other things that are going on, we help our communities in terms of the needs that they actually have. So that's also a great way to use district designated funds. I'm going to go ahead and move on, but I think you got some really good ideas. And as I said, I will send you the PowerPoint, and each of these links are active. And so when you click on them, you will be able to go to each of these areas on the web and look at different things. I particularly want you to see that there is a course in the Learning Center, and that'll be on the next slide, just an overview of it. Awards and recognition pages there. The Rotary Foundation Reference Guide is a downloadable PDF. It is something that I sent you in the email that asked you to attend tonight. So you have a PDF copy already in that email. Our 6780 website, if you click on the grants link, you'll be able to find out lots of information about both district and global grants. Ed, if you'll move on. I think my internet must be really bad. I keep seeing overlays of 2 slides, but here we go. This is when you sign into My Rotary and click on Learning and the Learning Center, you can search for courses, and there's a whole suite of courses on the Rotary Foundation committee at the club level, and some of it's really pretty good. So if you're new and you have some time, I mean, there's no time limit on these. You can stop and start them. You don't have to finish them, but go and take a look at some of the information that's there. Ed, next slide, please. Before we go to the questions, I want to end with this quote. I love it. It's from the 1991 RI president, Paul Costa. And he said, "The Rotary Foundation helps us change our dreams into splendid reality." I just love that. So succinct. It's kind of our motto in a way. And just in case there's not time at the end, I want to say thank you now for being in attendance at this Zoom meeting and for your feedback, your kind attention, and for the good work that you're doing for your communities and around the world and the way that you're helping your clubs. Next slide. All right, now is your time to ask questions of the experts in the room.
And Debbie, I've unmuted everyone that was muted automatically when they came in. So if you're still muted, there's a little button to the top right of your own picture, and you can unmute yourself and fire off questions.
I'd like to ask a question. What are the mechanics of keeping track of Paul Harris points? I'm a little bit confused how that works, and I'm a little bit confused about how the recognition pins come and how does that work? How does the feedback come back to the club that somebody has made some level of recognition points?
Norm, do you want to answer that one?
I'd be glad to. Thank you. When you make your contribution to Rotary, you have a Rotary profile, and on your Rotary profile, you can see what your contributions are. It'll have the date and everything. It'll tell you exactly where it went, whether you gave to the annual fund or to polio, and you can see just exactly how much you have. Also, on the club recognition summary, it has every member listed, and when they're giving, it shows how much it shows, and it builds up, and you can see it there. Now, if you need help on that, myself or Andy, who is your annual fund foundation chair, will be glad to assist you on that. And Debbie, may I say something in regards to the Rotary Direct now?
Of course.
When you give in foundation chairs, I really need your help, because I go after those members who are able to give a little bit more than their $100 a year. And we ask for those members who are able to give $1,000 a year to join the Paul Harris Society. We have members that have been giving like $1,000 or more every year, and they had not become members of the Paul Harris Society. It's not automatic, okay? You don't become automatic. What we do is we send your information into Rotary International, and what I normally do is I call them directly, and when I get off the phone, they send me an email, they send the new member an email, and I usually call the person, thank them for joining the Paul Harris Society. Now, it's not easy for all of us to write a check for $1,000, but Rotary Direct is the way. Andy mentioned it earlier. $85 a month, and you've achieved your $1,000 for your Paul Harris Society. So if I can help in any way, and I want to say, Jeff, you're on there, Townsend, he and some of the other foundation chairs, they have helped tremendously. They call me or send me an email or a text and say, Norm, I got someone that wants to join the Paul Harris Society, and we're glad to help you do that.
Yeah, I'd like to add.
So my question still is, if I understand how it worked this year in the Oak Ridge Breakfast Rotary Club, when people got their pins for Paul Harris recognition, the foundation, International Foundation, mailed pins to the club president.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the procedure of how it works? And then the club president would take it from there. Is that how that works? And then also, that seemed to happen 6 months after people gave their contributions.
Yeah, may I make a comment to that one? First of all, as foundation chair, and somebody alluded to the fact that you look at your club recognition summary and you can see where people stand in terms of getting to their first or next Paul Harris Fellowship, so that you can monitor all the time how close people are. And one of the things that I do, if I see somebody within $100 or even $200 of their next Paul Harris Fellowship, I go talk to them and say, hey, you know, just $100 more or $50 more, you know, you can get to that next level, and that often stimulates a little giving. The Rotary Foundation automatically sends the recognition items when a level is reached, but you're right, it takes a little while for that to happen, and they don't necessarily send it to the club president. You can send a form in, actually when you one of the giving forms, and you can designate who that recognition material goes to. Our material goes to our secretary. So you can actually designate, if you send a form in with a donation, you can designate that. Now, one of the challenges is that there are so many different ways of giving, and people are giving directly, and people are giving through their dues, and people are giving through, you know, Rotary Direct, that it's a lot different for a foundation chair to monitor that than it used to be. When it was just going through the club, through your treasurer, you could really pretty well keep track of it. But because people are, especially Rotary Direct, it's automatically directly deposited. So I would recommend that you just every month keep an eye on that club recognition summary to see where people are in terms of getting close to their next Paul Harris Fellowship. And when they do achieve the level, those recognition materials are sent to whoever has been designated in Rotary's records to that person. Given the fact that COVID-19 is happening, and Rotary, nobody there's no Rotary staff members working at Rotary International right now. They're all working from home. So some of that process may be a little bit delayed from what has been in the past. But absolutely the best thing you can do is keep on top of that club recognition summary to see where everybody is.
Thank you.
The other thing too is please make sure that you have a high enough security level in order to look at the finances of your club, because most of us have to have a level 4 or higher in order to get into some of the finances. And if you do Rotary Direct, we don't get a statement from Rotary that there's been one made. I happened to find out about the $25,000 donation because I did my check and said, whoa, all of a sudden we've got $25,000 extra dollars. So it is important to find out. And people who donate points from their account on your behalf, those do not qualify for the award points. They must be your hardcore dollar donations for the honors.
Well, to donate, you know, to count toward major donor status, but they do count toward Paul Harris.
Right, but you don't get the, that's where the discrepancy is if you have a club with all Paul Harris and the club match points, and the club gets points, and sometimes your club makes a deposit and forgets to fill out the multi-donor form. Therefore, all the points go into the club account and not into the individual's account. We have that happen.
I want to take just a couple of minutes and we can discuss that further offline. But David Carroll has joined us and I want to give him a chance to say hello. Remember district grants? And if you have any, since he hasn't been here to answer any questions earlier, if you have a question for him, now would be the time to answer it.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm running a little late. I got stuck in traffic, some kind of a car accident on 75. But anyway, and one more comment about the giving. I just thought about this. That if you have members that a lot of members move around from club to club, and make sure that they when they move to their new club, that they keep that same number with the Rotary Foundation, or they might have 2 or 3 accounts if they move around with the Rotary Foundation, and you have to combine those back. That's happened in our club several times. But I'm David Carroll and Rotary Club of Cleveland, and my committee manages and helps clubs, train clubs and qualifies clubs so they can do grants and hopefully increase their projects. And we work with clubs, and the committee I work with, we work on a lot of grants, usually about 40 district grants a year, 40, 45.
It's an amazing number. Our clubs do so much good. I'm so proud of all of you. I know that Ed Anderson needs a couple of minutes at the end because he wants to do a little survey with you. But again,
there's a couple questions in the chat. There's a couple questions in the chat, David. I think you'd cover. Bernadette Rindler from Jamestown said that the 501c3 partners nearby are getting grants of about $2,000 to $2,500 from a Middle or East Tennessee agency. And she thinks it's a governmental organization that's funding small projects to assist people who are impacted by COVID-19. Bernadette's not sure if they would be able to apply to a club. She says it's a non-matching and apparently very easy, short application. Bernadette, if I butchered your question, please feel free to jump in, but I wondered if anybody could speak to that.
No, Ed, that's exactly it. And I think the struggle was that the club, you know, we keep the 2 bank accounts, we talk about foundation, then we talk about operating, then we talk about, and we're very careful. And so we wondered if we needed permission from the foundation, from the district level of the foundation, to apply for a small grant and it's all based on the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we were thinking $2,500 for our food bank would go a long way.
Sure.
Was that Stump the Band?
Dave,
no, I think any club is free to apply for anything like that.
Okay.
It doesn't relate to the Rotary Foundation.
It's limited to 501c3s, and that was the label people were struggling with. That's all.
Okay,
I
well,
thought we could.
does your club have a 501c3?
No.
Okay, so then you could not apply
No,
for it.
I
because
think
you can't use the Rotary Foundation 501c3 to apply for it.
that's the answer.
No,
They
you
said
can't.
we're a 501c3 if it's a foundation issue, and I kept saying, okay, we were all struggling. Okay, thank you. That's it.
And Debbie, Bonnie Carroll of Oak Ridge, maybe this is a question for Norm. She asked, why don't they just make members of the Paul Harris Society automatic? And I guess she's asking about people who give $1,000 year after year, but haven't applied to join the Paul Harris Society.
I really have no control over it. Rotary International has set it up that way as a Paul Harris Society. But if you contact me, I will see that it is done immediately. I've been contacting them on the phone, just calling them directly and telling them that I have a member who wants to become a Paul Harris Society, giving them their name, their club number, and they do it immediately. Within about 10 minutes, I've been getting a response back from Rotary International. So they've really been on top of it. I was surprised, especially during this coronavirus. But that's the procedure, and we're doing well. In fact, we're the #1 Paul Harris Society club in the district, if I understand that correctly.
6,
And the
7,
last
8,
question in the
is
chat's from,
Pardon?
I'm done. Go ahead.
Sorry, the last question in the chat's from Tom Kale, and he wondered if there is a way to get a detailed donor report without making a request from the support center. I think the answer is yes, but maybe you could tell Tom how to get that.
Are you talking about individually, Tom? For yourself?
Yeah,
Personal?
Norm, what I ran into was a real challenge when I took the job on mid-year of trying to figure out where the club was and what each individual's status was in terms of giving, so we could target the requests, you know, as we went to our club members. Because we do, you know, one of the things I think is important is to do an individual ask of each member of your club privately, and I need to know where they are and how much they've given at that point in the year. And the support center's been great. Sent them, you know, the request. They send me the report. But I seem to remember back in the old days that we could get a little more detail than we seem to be able to get from off the Rotary.org site.
I'm trying to think of what you're talking
There are
about.
4 or 5 really good reports on My Rotary, Tom. If you go on My Rotary to the Rotary Foundation, and you know, there's different ways to get at it. But what you can't get, because it's privacy, there's privacy around it, you cannot get from Rotary Foundation an exact dollar amount that somebody's given during the year, because that's personal information. So unless the member, I mean, you can look at, see how much everybody has, whether everybody's given a minimum of $2,500, you can look, or $25, you can see if they've given a minimum of $100. Because there is an annual fund and a banner report. There's about 3 or 4 different reports, club recognition summary report. And they're very, very easy to find on My Rotary, but they won't tell you how much an individual has given during the year because of privacy.
Well, actually, I mean, Rotary sent me that, Karen. I mean, I got it in an Excel spreadsheet as to what my members in my club.
That's surprising. I'm surprised.
Had given to that point in the year.
Yeah. Okay,
and it had both annual fund. It had it broken out as annual fund and polio.
Okay, well, then I've learned something today too.
So,
but you have to go to the contact center to get that.
Yes, that's what I've had to do so far.
Right, and ask for it. But,
yes.
But that's not one of the ones that you can get automatically in My Rotary because of the privacy concerns.
Okay, then that explains it. Thank you.
But you can get lots of other ones.
Hey, Tom, the report that the secretary sends in, or the treasurer, can print out what they send in. I had our treasurer send me the sheet he sent to International, so I knew how much everyone gave and when they gave.
Well, not really, because
No, if they give in other ways, you don't.
yeah,
know.
I mean, if they're going on Rotary.org and giving or using Rotary Direct, that's not in that report.
But I can get that off of a different report. It's just a hard way to get around. You can get it if you want it bad enough.
I will tell you, as somebody that came in mid-year and trying to get a clear picture of a club, it was a little bit challenging to find where we were. And yes, I got help from Rotary.org, but this is something that new people are going to have to deal with too, is trying to get a real clear picture of not only where the club overall stands, but where each individual member in the club stands. But it's just something that we've got to learn how to deal with. And right now, the help center is great, guys. If you've never dealt with the Rotary Support Center, they are tremendously helpful, even during COVID.
The club recognition summary report will tell you exactly where your members are at. So that's very important.
Well, and there's another report too. It's the banner report, I think, that tells you where they are in terms of achieving that $100 level. You know, the sustaining member.
Where do we get that club recognition report?
On My Rotary?
Yes.
I'm looking at, it's not in DAC-DB?
No. None of these reports are DAC-DB reports.
Okay.
And realize the club recognition summary is about recognition, not direct donations.
Right.
And so sometimes when you're looking at that, you can say, well, you're close to getting your next Paul Harris award, but I don't know how much you've contributed this year, because it shows your recognition level. Doesn't show your annual contribution. So you got to realize what's in each of these reports. They're just a slightly different view of things.
If you take 2 or 3 of them together, you can figure a lot of things out.
Yep.
It's like being a
Maybe
detective.
there's 2 other questions. Kim Padilla from Gatlinburg asked if there are small grants available from the foundation, such as the COVID-related grants Bernadette was talking about. If you could answer that. And then Bonnie Carroll had her hand up in the chat room, and that'll probably run us out of time.
Yeah, if you want to, I can answer the one on grants. Yeah, nothing on district grants. We are doing one with Oak Ridge for 2021 with Elaine, but that's not part of those large block grant, those large grants that the Rotary Foundation had granted. But you can get a district grant with, and it's the same process as what we use for district grants. The club puts up half the money, matched half the money with a grant. Right now, we don't have the funds available, but there's not a lot of people in line right now. So I would suggest if you had an idea to contact me, and if there's some way we could work it out, we'd be glad to. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, David. I appreciate it.
Okay, call me if I can help you.
Say there's one
And then
more.
the last question was from Bonnie Carroll. Bonnie, if you want to go ahead.
Okay, this isn't exactly a question, but my husband belongs to the Crystal City Pentagon Rotary Club up in the Washington, D.C. area. And we made a significant gift last year, and the foundation president of that club approached us to discuss how, depending on how you make the contribution, will determine if the club gets 50% back after 2 years or something like that. And it was not straightforward, and I guess if you give it to Polio Plus, it doesn't get it back, but if you give it to another fund, you do get it back. And I think it might be interesting, particularly for the newbies and clearly for me, to really understand, if say you want to give $5,000, what's the best way to give it? And I know it depends on what you want to accomplish, but when it impacts international versus it impacts the club versus it impacts a certain area of Rotary like Polio Plus. It was just enlightening to me because I had no idea. I thought you just give them money and they use it right. But apparently there are a lot of ways to give money.
Yes, there are a lot of ways. And the one you're talking about is called annual fund share, is the it's the most flexible of all the ways you can give money to the foundation, because that money can go into a lot of different places. And one of the places is it comes back to the district in the form of district grants. So if you want stuff to come back to the district, that's really the only fund you can put it in. And most people, when they talk about annual fund, they're talking about annual fund share. Okay. You can also say, I want to give it to the annual fund and not share it. If you didn't want it to come back to your district, you want it to only go internationally. And if you can say, I want my money to go to polio or to the peace centers or to a particular area of focus, there are a lot of different ways you can specify it. And almost everybody says annual fund share. It gives the trustees and your district a lot of flexibility.
Well, I would suggest that, particularly for the newbies, that somehow is explained very simply so they can then relate it to people in their club. Because I've been a Rotarian for 30 years. I mean, it's just recently we have more resources to give more money, but it all amazed me that there was this complexity in giving money. And I don't think most people do understand that. And it would probably be worthwhile to have a little bit of a cheat sheet or an education on what the implications are for the way you give. Just a thought.
Bonnie, I would love to come up there and talk to you. Tell me where to come. I'll come.
All right, David, we may want somebody to come and talk to our club, or remotely, of course.
That
Okay.
sounds
like
and
a
that,
good
that
program,
was, that was
David.
Andy
Thank you.
Anderson too. So that was Andy with Annual Fund, and he'll be happy to come and talk with you.
Debbie, it was in your information you sent him on the email.
Yes, it was.
And Debbie, I
Hey,
just
oh,
put
it's
the poll up. Had 29 out of 34 votes so far, Debbie, so it's going real quick.
Great.
I think the governor's going to collect these results.
The city official counter.
Governor Ron, not Governor Bill Lee.
Whoever gets on first, right, TJ?
That's right.
I think we might as well stop the polling because nobody's voted in the past 20 seconds. So let's see what we got here. Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Interesting. Interesting results. Okay. We'll stop sharing the results. Debbie, you have some final comments?
Okay. I thought you might want to close it out, Ron, as district governor-elect.
No, I can do that. I want to first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. A special thanks to Debbie and her team for all that they do and are going to do moving forward. I want to thank Beth Stubbs as our incoming but already working district trainer for setting up everything this week. Great job, Beth. And thanks to Ed for keeping us all organized tonight, because he knows how to do it and I don't, and it really tells when he does it and I don't. So thank you, Ed, for that. But most of all, I want to thank all of you for being Rotarians and being people who donate to the Rotary Foundation, because you all know that the Rotary Foundation is the engine that makes Rotary do good in the world. And the more we can get that information to people in terms of not only how they can contribute, but also how they can spend it in the best way, everybody benefits from that, because as we all know, the needs locally and internationally have never been greater, and we have never needed Rotary more than we do now. So thanks for all you do. And I think with that, we should say good night because we're running a little bit behind, but thanks everybody. Let's give a big woohoo to Debbie and her team.
Woohoo, Debbie and her team.
Great evening. Bye-bye.
See you in 20 minutes, Ron.
That's right. Thank you all. We're going to end this session in 3, 2, 1.